What is going on, guys? It's your boy Brandon back again for another video. This video is going to be a little bit different than normal. Instead of working on the cars, a lot of you guys know I've been looking to purchase another car here next year so that the Jetta can get into full project mode effect. So in doing so, I thought I'd spend probably anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 so that I had a nice, reliable, fun car that I could drive, and I thought I would share some of my research with you guys. So this video is going to be based on the 5 best cars that I think you could buy for $5,000 or less. Coming in at number 5, surprise, surprise, it's a Volkswagen. The Mark V platform. As you guys know, I've owned a Mark V. I had a Unitronic Stage 2 GTI, and it was absolutely amazing. The GTI is still around. My brother is the one driving it now, and still yet to have really any issues with it. I really loved the Mark V. It wasn't the fastest car around, as it only came factory with about 200 horsepower. And after doing mods and stuff, it was probably more around 290, 300 horsepower, 320 foot-pounds of torque to the crank. It was a really torquey car, and it was super comfortable and super reliable. I never really had any maintenance issues with the car at all, and that's why it made itself on the list. You can find these cars for anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 now for a nice, clean, unmolested one. Some of them might even have simple modifications like coilovers and stuff already. With the tune, they open up and are great, great cars. Number 4 would have to be the Bug-Eye WRX. The number 1 reason for this being resale value. These cars date back to around 2002, and they're still going for like $5,000. There's so many of them made, and so many older people that own them, that it's really easy to find yourself a nice, unmolested one in this price range. They're not really unreliable at all. I know the 5-speeds did have some issues, and the Bug-Eye didn't really technically come in an STI here in the States. And I know they had some issues with launching and having problems like that. But if you didn't plan on really drag racing the car, and this was going to be a car that you could take to the snow, go snowboarding, throw the car meets in and mash around and drive around in, I would highly recommend the WRX. You can get a Cobb access port, or a pocket tuner is what I like to call it, which allows you to switch through maps on the fly. You can easily do the infamous Stage 2, and I think you'd be honestly really happy. And if you decided you weren't really looking for the Subaru, then it would be easy to resell it because the resale value is high. Number 3. E36 platform, preferably the M3. These are one of those cars that you kind of have to really look for, because some people are still asking $5 million for them, but you can find them for around $4,000 to $5,000. The reason I state the M3 is, besides the fact that it came with the S50 motor, which makes more power, overall the car in general looks a ton better. It has a different front bumper, the headlights are different, I believe the rear bumper, there's a couple other things. I'm not a big BMW guy, but the fact of the matter is M3 is definitely a big upgrade in compared to just the 328 or the 325i. I personally wouldn't mind either or. I like the idea that the sedan is an option for both the M3 and the standard 328 or 325. It makes it for a really great drift car. It has really good NA power. They are really expensive to make big power with because it is an NA platform, but I don't think you're really going to beat the comfort and the power, especially for, like, say, entry-level drifting. It's enough to learn with, that's not overbearing, but at the same time it's enough to take you to a decent spot without having to dump a shit ton of money into the car. Number 2 has been a personal favorite of mine for a long time. This dates back to probably 2010, 2011. Dodge Neon SRT4. Now, I know these cars have a bad rap, but that's usually because the people that have had them beat the crap out of them and don't know what they're doing. When the SRT4 came out, it was easily the fastest little 4-banger that you could buy right off the showroom floor. It was meant to compete with the Evos and the Subaru WRX. and it did its job. It is a front-wheel drive platform, unlike the all-wheel drive Evo and WRX. With the motor, you can make a lot of power for very cheap. You can buy a pocket tuner and bolt-ons and do something like E85 and easily find yourself in the 12-second quarter-mile range. Along with that, it still has 4 doors. You can throw everyone in the back and you're good to go. Now this car was made for 3 years, 03 to 05, which also kind of makes it a collector's car as well, like the M3. Everyone who is crazy about these cars is crazy about them. Everybody who's not crazy about them hates them. So it's one of those love-hate things. If you decide to look for one, I would say definitely look for the 0405 because the 0405 came with more horsepower and a limited slip differential, whereas the 03 is definitely one tire fire and as torque steery as it can possibly get. That brings us to number 1. The number 1 car I think that you could buy for about $5,000 or less would have to be an 03 to 06 Nissan 350Z. It's the fact that I want to get back into drifting. Even if you weren't looking into getting into drifting and you just wanted a nice fun car, the 350Z is an amazing platform. There's plenty of aftermarket support for this car. They don't really have any issues other than like oil consumption. Their transmissions are super strong to where they're putting them into immensely powerful cars. The only downfall really being is that it's a 2-seater, but if you're going to have a track car / drift car, more than likely it's going to be a 2-seater anyways, so that doesn't really bother me at all. My whole thought process behind the 350Z was the fact that it comes with a decent amount of horsepower. 03 to 05 is about 287 horsepower from the factory. If you can get an 06 to 07, I believe is the rev up, that has a little bit more horsepower, and then they have the HR, which is dual throttle body and a lot more power. But you're going to be finding yourself spending a lot more money than $5,000 for that. 350Zs is the same thing as the Subaru. You can find some old people that have had one. You know, it's basically their oversized Miata that they're letting them go. Or you can find some that are already modified and beat up. Kind of depending on what you want to go. I've seen them as low as $2,800, up to as high as $7,500 for that 03 to 05 mark. I personally want a 350Z for the fact that I could keep my air conditioning, have a nice radio, full interior, drive it to the track and drive it home with all the comforts and not be in the same situation I was in the 240, to where it was a fun car, but driving it for more than a half an hour or so destroyed my back. And I also want to be able to smog it and everything else. So if you have kids like me, then make sure, you know, obviously you have a different car. Benefits of having the Jetta, the Golf, the Audi, etc. We don't really have an issue with cars in this household. So more than likely, guys, I will probably end up picking up the 350Z, but I can't say for sure because it is quite a while away. The motor that's going to be going into Rob's VRT this weekend. We're going to get it all fired up and everything so that we can hit dubs around the lake next weekend. So I'll bring you guys along for that. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. If you guys have any other cars that you think are cool or awesome for around $5,000 or less, put them in the comment section below. Let me know. That way I can check them out for myself, and other people reviewing the video can do some research on them as well. Catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.
Golf boy
OP with a brand new bitch in the back of the club with the God boy clip. Iced out teeth on the iced out whip with the limousine tints. You can suck my dick. Friends to the show when you in the bench truck. Always want fuck, tell the bitch good luck. Always want fuck cause it just came up. Drugs in my nose, good drugs in my cup.